Hi guys, welcome to my channel. So this video is going to be about how I do my makeup. This is my everyday makeup when I am wearing makeup, but because we've been wearing the face mask due to COVID-19, I tend to not wear makeup anymore because really what's the point? I would just have on brows and lashes and liner, and because I have a small head and a small face, my mask literally goes all the way up here. So most of the time the mask is creeping up towards my eye, so it's really no point. But yeah, and also there's a story time about the time my neighbor got killed, you know, in the complex I was staying in. See how I did my hair, how I did my makeup, and listen to my story time. Just stay tuned. I'm gonna use this mirror to apply, and then I have my blow dryer, so I'll just skip through this part. Okay, now that that's done, I'm going to lay my baby hairs. So I normally use this, the Got2b spiking glue. I cannot find the cover, so I feel like it works better a bit drier anyway. And then for my edge brush, this is what I use. I got this from a beauty supply store when I was in Houston. I used to live in these, I guess, I don't know if they're condos or townhomes. Basically, it's the same thing that you would call a flat here in Nigeria. It's not a house, it's not an apartment, but like you own it, I guess. There was this couple that was always like, I don't know if I just say they love their self, but they were like always having sex, always. So, you know, I was just like, okay, whatever day that I see my neighbor, I'm gonna ask them, you know, hey, can you keep it down? So one day I was gonna ask her, you know, if I ever saw her, hey, you know, I don't, you know, mean to be rude, but is it possible for you and your partner, you know, to keep it down, because you guys keep me up in the wee hours of the morning, or sometimes you guys actually wake me up, you know, because you guys are having such loud, you know, sex and everything. But I never got to meet her. It's either she was at work or I was going to work, or by the time she was back, I hadn't gotten back yet. So by the time I was coming back, she was already in her house, and you know, vice versa. Or, you know, maybe I traveled, or, you know, I was at a friend's house or whatever. So yeah, that's just how it was. I lived there for like about 1.5 years. I'm not really too sure, I don't really remember, but I know that was the last place I lived before I moved back to Nigeria, because I moved back from my own house. But anyways, yeah, I'm going to do my eyebrows with this pencil. Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and sharpen this pencil. So anyways, I was never able to meet this neighbor. Hope you guys can see what I'm doing. So anyways, yeah, basically I never ran into the neighbor. She, you know, never showed herself. I never saw her partner, or at least, because I always saw people in the apartments or in the condominiums, but you know, of course, if you've never met your neighbor, how would you know who your neighbor's partner is, right? So anyways, it was one particular day, I heard a whole bunch of fighting upstairs, and then I'm just gonna use this old eyebrow brush. I just heard, you always do this. You always doing this, you always doing that, blah, blah, blah. So, you know, of course, I'm nosy. I didn't turn my TV down, you know, listening to the fight. I didn't hear anything else anymore. I think maybe the person was whispering, or they just weren't as loud as the person that was shouting at them. So, you know, I didn't hear anything else. So the next day, of course, in the morning, I hear this extremely loud lovemaking. So, ooh, I'm sorry. Anyways, I didn't hear anything else about their arguing. So, you know, I'm going on about my business. I hear them having sex. Okay, I guess they made up. So later down the line, I hear the same argument the next night. They're arguing. You always doing this. You always say that, blah, blah, blah. You know, I'm always hearing the same thing. And of course, you know, it's not my business. So what can I say? I'm only a neighbor, because like how the houses were, it was 4 per block. So it was, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4. So I was here on this part, I was at the bottom. And then the other neighbor that I could hear was directly on top of me, but to the other side. No, was that how the houses were? Because I haven't lived there in years, honey. But I think that's how it was. So anyways, I couldn't hear anything. The next morning, I now hear loud lovemaking, which is cool. I'm not no hater. I mean, shit, y'all having fun? Have fun. NYX concealer in a jar. Of course, I didn't say anything because once again, you know, I didn't see them. I never saw them. I remember I had something to do in the morning. It's either I had to pay a bill or I need to go to the post office or something like that. The next night, the same thing happens again. But this time, I could actually hear the guy arguing back with the lady. So she was like, you know, you always do this. So it sounded like she was arguing with somebody on the phone. Well, he can come stay with you, because if he gonna do this to me, he can go stay with you. I mean, he ain't got no job, so his broke ass can come stay with you and your parents. I don't give a fuck. Okay, so the whole time I didn't turn my TV down. I am listening to see what is happening. And once again, nothing. So the guy now goes, so where am I supposed to go? So she was like, I don't give a damn. Go stay with her. Since you keep text messaging her, go stay with her. So I hear some people tussling at the stairs, because the way my apartment was set up, for the people that go upstairs, I could hear people running up the stairs and going down the stairs. That's what I really hate about being on the down floor. I don't want to hear anybody's noise, you know, above me. So I hear them fighting on the stairs, and it gets to a point to where like my whole apartment is shaking. And it sounds like somebody fell down the stairs. So I'm just like my apartment is shaking. The windows are shaking. You know, when somebody falls, you could feel it. So the guy is now still arguing, where am I supposed to go? So she now goes, I don't know, but you got to get out of here. You're not about to be staying with me and cheating on me in my own house. So of course, the guy stays outside. He's banging on the door. And the way that those apartments were, there was like a screen door but the screen door also had like burglar bars on the screen door and then the actual door. So all I heard was him banging at the door, banging, 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 banging. And of course, this is still shaking my apartment because my apartment is below. So after he finishes banging and shaking my damn apartment, she opens the door for him. She opens the door and he goes inside. Of course, later on in the evening, I start hearing extremely loud lovemaking. Whoever is screaming, I'm guessing it's the guy because of the person's voice was extremely deep compared to the person I always hear screaming, right? So I'm guessing it was the guy that was screaming. So anyways, I go to work early yet again because I have things to do. I come back, I go to work, you know, of course, and I think I now stop off at a friend's house. And you know, from there I go grocery shopping. I, you know, take my time coming home because, you know, of course, nobody's rushing me. I live by myself in my own house. So I think I got off work like around 4 or 5, and I got home like around 9 or 10, something like that, which really isn't late, but you know. So anyways, I get home, I try to get into my apartments, well, my condos, and for some reason the gate is not working. My remote control is not working for the gate. So I have to wait for somebody to come out. So I'm sitting there. Nobody is coming out. I probably had to have sat there for maybe about a good 5 minutes. So finally somebody comes out. So the whole time that, you know, I'm just looking, driving around the corner, you know, to my parking spot because we have assigned parking. And I couldn't even get to my parking spot. Houston Fire Department was there. The ambulance was there. Houston Police Department was there. The manager of the condos was there. And I think a few maintenance men were there. You know, their cars and everything, so they blocked the whole apartment complex. So I had to park in unshaded parking because if you know anything about parking in certain apartments, even though your parking spot is not available, you cannot park in someone else's parking spot because you will be towed. Everybody knows the rule. Eyebrows are sisters, not twins. So anyways, I park, you know, I'm confused about what's going on, like, because where I stay, there's a lot of older people, so I just assumed, you know, maybe, you know, somebody old probably slipped and fell, or, you know, something like that. I'm about to put on my NYX Angel Veil primer. So let me go ahead and put on this concealer so I can conceal my spot. Gonna tap, 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 tap. So the police comes around the corner. He's asking people questions. Everyone is looking confused because of course they don't live here. Probably, you know, they're next of kin, so they've been called, you know, hey, XYZ has happened, you know, come and identify the body, or, you know, just come and identify the man that, you know, is the accused of doing XYZ. So I get to my apartments and I actually see a few people that I recognize. So of course, only for me to now find out this lady was an English teacher at a high school that I went to. I'm about to cover this up with my foundation, and this is the Maybelline Matte Poreless in 338 Spicy Brown. Tap it on here on the top. So I see a few people that I know, so of course I asked them, hey, you know, what's going on? So she now goes, my auntie died. So I'm like, your auntie, who is your auntie here? The police, I now go into my apartment. The police now comes and knocks on my door after the whole crowd has, you know, dispersed and everything. He now goes, you know, hi, good evening. I noticed that you're a resident here. Are you the owner of this unit? So he now goes, well, I would like to ask you a few questions about your neighbor. And I was like, okay, you know, what's going on? So he was like that, you know, I don't know if anybody in the crowd has told you, but there has been a homicide here on your block that apparently your neighbor's live-in boyfriend murdered her through strangulation. And we just wanted to know if you've ever heard any arguments or anything like that, you know, in your unit. And I was like, well, to be honest, yes. For the past week, they've been fighting nonstop. And but normally after they fight, I would hear them having, you know, extremely loud makeup sex. So I just didn't really, you know, think anything about it. If anything, I was gonna, you know, ask them, you know, can you keep it down, you know, when you're having sex, because, you know, some of us have to go to work, blah, blah, blah. But I never was able to run into her or him. And if I did, I wouldn't even know who they were anyway, because I never spoke to them. Everybody in this complex kind of minds their business. So he was like, oh, well, since you said, you know, you heard them fighting, what exactly, you know, did you hear them fighting about? So, you know, of course, I told him, you know, well, from what I could hear, it sounds like the man cheated on her and she happened to go through his phone. So, you know, that's why they were arguing. So then he now asked me, well, about the makeup sex, how many times would you say that would happen? I said, every single time they get into an argument, there will be makeup sex, and it's been happening every day this week. So he was like that, well, you know, your neighbor has been killed. What can you say about, you know, the day of, you know, that it happened, and where have you been all day? Because we've actually been looking for people on this block, but you're the first one to actually come back home. And mind you, I came home at 10 in the evening. So I was like, well, you know, I heard them arguing. He was cheating on her. She checked his phone, so she threw him out. And from what I heard, from what it sounded like, she threw him down the stairs, or while they were arguing for her to push him out of her unit, he fell down the stairs or whatever, but my apartment was shaking. So I'm guessing he now stood up, and I'm about to use my Kat Von D Lock-It concealer. So yeah, it sounded like after she threw him out, he now started banging on the door. And mind you, like I told you guys, we have the gate plus the door, so the whole apartment thing was shaking. So he was like, after all of that, you still didn't come out? And I said, well, to be honest, it's not really my business what somebody is doing, you know, in their unit, who they're fighting with. It don't have nothing to do with me. So of course, you know, I didn't come out, because even though it was disturbing me, you know, it really wasn't my business. So he was like, well, you know, maybe if you had come out or called the police, this would have been a different story. And I was like, no, you're not gonna put this on me. You're not gonna make it like I'm the bad guy here. She should have called the police on him whenever he came back around, especially after she threw him out. So it's definitely not on me. She had ample opportunities to call the police on him, and she chose not to. So that don't have nothing to do with me. So he was like, well, anyways, I'm just letting you know, if you had said something, this could have been a different story. And I was like, okay. So the next day, I saw it on the news. My apartment complex was on the news, and it was just so weird to see where you live. And then the news were now like that, oh, we went to the apartment complex, but none of the neighbors wanted to comment. I never seen channel 13, 11, 12, 9, 8. I never seen none of them at the apartment. But that was just so crazy how like a simple argument could turn into somebody being killed. Like, you cheated on your girlfriend, you cheated, you living in her house, and you cheated, and she asked you to leave, and all you can do is turn around and kill her. Okay, for contour, I'm using the Wet n Wild contour stick. So let me show you a pretty one. So yeah, it is the Wet n Wild contour stick, and it's in the shade 806 Where's Walnut. It gives me color without it like being like. What I'm gonna use for this is Wet n Wild. It is a contour brush or blush brush. But yeah, about my story time. Has anybody ever, you know, experienced something like that? Like, you saw something crazy, but you know, it's not your business. So you just try to stay out of it, and you know, something crazy ended up happening. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I actually felt bad, because maybe if I did call the police, things would be different. But then at the same time, like, what if I called the police and it was nothing? Then it would just be like, oh, I'm just calling the police on people in the name of calling the police. I'm about to use this very old Victoria's Secret brush. I think I got this, you get it for free if you're approved for a credit card, but this was an extremely long time ago. This brush is so old. So yeah, I'm just gonna do that same bouncing motion on my nose. Definitely comment below, have you ever been in a situation like this? Because I was so confused. So now I'm about to set my concealer with this little puff. And the powder I'm using is the Ben Nye Luxury Powder. And the color I'm using is BV-O Banana. I'm gonna press this in where I put the concealer. And if you see me looking here, I have a larger mirror over there. So I just press this in and bounce it. So just to deepen up my contour just a little bit, I'm gonna take that same brush and I'm gonna take my e.l.f. palette. This is Bronzed and Violet. And this is what this palette looks like. I'm gonna take a little bit here, just tap it on there. Okay, so the brush I'm gonna use to set my contour is another Wet n Wild brush. So what we're gonna set our contour with is the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette. And I have mine in medium to dark. I'm gonna dip into Sculpt. Ooh. And just lightly tap that on there. And I'm gonna use this fluffy shader brush from Echo Tools. And I'm just gonna go back into Sculpt. Now I'm getting ready to set my entire face. And I'm using the Maybelline Fit Me Matte Poreless in 355 Coconut. So I just tap, tap, tap. And I just tap that onto my forehead, tap it into my brows. For blush, I'm going to go into my Nubian 2 by Juvia's Place palette. And this is what it looks like. I'm going to go into Morocco, and that's this color right here. Okay, for highlighter, I'm gonna go ahead and go into my Carly Bible palette, and I have the Deluxe Edition palette. And it looks like this. I hardly touch this thing, and I was searching for this palette absolutely everywhere. Champagne color right here, and these don't have names, they're just there. Yeah. This, ooh. And for my nose highlight, I just do an exclamation mark. So I just put the little line here. And then, yeah. And yeah, I'm about to spray away. Ooh, girl. I'm going to wear NYX Soft Matte Lip Cream in Abu Dhabi. That's cute. So I'm gonna curl my hair and I'll be back. So this is how my hair curled. And yeah, I like it like this. It's not too much. It just gives me second day curls. Like, I want to show up, but I don't want it to be like I'm just trying to do too much, if you get what I'm saying. And then I wear this bow and it's so cute. So yeah, perfect. So this is how I do my makeup. Most of the time, unless I'm using different products, but the steps are basically the same. I have different brushes, but they all are basically just multiples of the same. It's just different companies and things like that. So yeah, if you like this look, let me know what you think in the comments down below. Don't forget to comment, like, share, subscribe, and tell a friend of a friend of a friend about KeishaDiamonds713 YouTube channel. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.